Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 24th regular business board meeting. At this time, I'm going to ask for audience recognition on agenda items only. So at the end of the meeting will be opportunity to speak on any issue, but if you have comments about an agenda item, this would be the time. Please sign in with Ms. LaPera, 3-minute limit. Please state your name and generally where you live in the district. Is there anyone who wants to give public comment now? Okay, great. I'd like to approve the attached minutes from the Board of School Directors meetings, August 20th, regular business board, September 17th, Education Committee, and accept the following committee meeting minutes: September 6th, which was a special meeting of the board facilities, September 12th, Curriculum Committee, September 14th, Policy Committee, September 20th, Facilities and Purchasing. Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. The motion passes. Mr. Copeland?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to school. Along with all of you, we welcome back approximately 8,700 students to our schools. And special thanks to all of the parents who shared photos using our hashtag Lmsd 21st day. You'll find some great photos from the first day on the district website. Lower Merion High School recently played host to a unique afternoon of service as some 300 students, parents, and community members gathered in the cafeteria with the goal of breaking the world record for most backpacks filled with school supplies in 1 hour. The backpacks were donated to a number of Philadelphia schools. Thanks to LMHS alumnus Najee Grant for organizing the event. They accomplished their goal, breaking the record of 3,000 backpacks, which was set by Brown University students in June, so they didn't hold it for very long. It's too bad. Our volunteers packed over 3,000 backpacks in 16 minutes. Thank you to all who supported the event. Our district was also well represented in the winner's circle of the 2018 Philadelphia Young Playwrights Festival as 10 secondary school students were recently honored for their submissions to this year's contest. The winners were chosen from more than 700 submissions. Our top winner was Angelina DeMonte, a current 9th grade student at Harriton who penned her piece while at Welsh Valley. Lower Merion High School social studies teacher John Grace was recently named a recipient of the University of Chicago's Outstanding Educator Award, which is given to educators across the country as a result of a written nomination from a student. And finally, Lower Merion High School computer science teacher Tom Swope was recently named the Philadelphia region's recipient of the Aspirations in Computing Educator Award, which celebrates teachers who promote gender equity in computing and encourage young women to explore their interest in technology. Concludes my report. It always takes a month to sort of get back in the swing of things. Under Human Resources, the superintendent recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached Human Resources actions HR 1 through HR 4.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
Under Educational Services, the administration, I'm going to take B and C together in one motion, if that's all right. For B, the administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approve the interagency agreements between LMSD and MCIU for Title I services from September 4th, 2018 to June 30th, 2019, and Title IIA and Title II-IV services from July 1st, 2018 to September 30th, 2021. Further, C, the administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the overnight trip requests as listed.
Okay, so I didn't jump in fast enough to ask Dr. Van Lynch for her curriculum report at that time. So why don't should we vote on this first and then you do the report? Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes, and now we'll have our report from Dr. Van Lynch.
No problem. Thank you, Dr. Gilbert and Mr. Copeland. The curriculum committee curriculum committee of the board met on Wednesday, September 12th. We had two presentation topics. And just as a reminder to the public, all our related presentation and supporting documents can be found on the district website in board docs under curriculum meeting, as well as in the education supplementary board meeting section of board docs. Our first topic for discussion was a presentation on the comprehensive plan. Mr. Brian Cody provided the curriculum committee an overview of the requirements and timeline for the PA Department of Education Comprehensive Plan, which is mandated for all school districts in the Commonwealth. The plan is an action plan outlining the district's commitment to ensuring a quality education for all of our students. It describes the educational program and services that are provided within the school district and those programs and services which are accessed by the school district and is aligned with the district strategic plan all forward. The comprehensive plan process contains 6 sections, which include profile, core foundations, assurances, needs assessment, and district level planning. Mr. Cody also reviewed the related timeline for the completion of the plan. Highlights with regard to the timeline include the opening of the October 1st period, where the public will have 28 days to review the plan and offer feedback. And then the final plan is due for submission electronically to PDE by November 30th. One of the areas that the committee raised with the team was that we want to make sure that there is extensive opportunity for community feedback and wanted to broaden some of those opportunities. And so Mr. Cody and our administration will look into additional ways in which to include community feedback. The second presentation topic was on our Challenge Success Survey. Dr. Everslag and Dr. Paul presented survey results and analysis from the Challenge Success Survey, which was administered to our middle and high school students this past spring. The survey is also known as the Stanford Survey of Adolescent School Experiences and is a research instrument that measures middle and high school students' perspectives on homework, extracurricular activities, sleep, physical health, stress, parent expectations, academic engagement, academic integrity, and teacher support. The survey was administered online and results remain anonymous. Lmsd received a comprehensive report of the survey and will utilize this data to inform district programming, especially as it relates to ongoing strategic plan implementation. Just a few highlights from the survey as it was presented at both curriculum as well as our education meeting. Response rates from our students range from the mid 70% to mid-high 80s across the 4 secondary schools. There was also, in addition to the quantitative data, there was qualitative data provided to the district. Dr. Everslag presented summary of key findings in the following areas: support at school, engagement, health and well-being, and time use. Highlights include the following: the majority of our middle school and high school students have at least one adult at school that they would feel comfortable going to if they had a personal problem. While many students, especially at the middle school, report high levels of meaningful engagement, many also report just doing school or going through the motions of school. 60 to 70% of students at each school who reported they often or always feel stressed by their schoolwork, citing workload and assessments as key academic stressors. A majority of students also reported engaging in cheating behaviors, broadly defined at least once, and we talked about that extensively at the meeting as well. Time use results reported, amount of homework, between 13 and 20 hours per week of school and non-school homework, which is in line with Challenge Success Schools, extracurricular involvement, and our rates were higher than what they typically see. I'm going to skip down a little bit. The next steps include a parent survey pilot that should be opening this week, tomorrow. fantastic. A Challenge Success Parent Survey is a 20-minute online survey for parents of middle and high school students that measures perceptions of their children's academic engagement, connection to the school community, physical health and well-being, technology use, how they use their time outside of schools, and family norms. Questions for parents primarily focus on issues about which they can be reliable observers over which they have the control to change. The curriculum committee looks forward to hearing from the research team as many of the findings of the survey are integrated into strategic plan implementation. Requests were made by some committee members to break out middle school versus high school data to better understand developmentally specific academic programming that will foster higher levels of student engagement. So more to come on that. Our next meeting of the curriculum committee of the board will be Tuesday, October 2nd at 8:30 a.m.
Thank you very much, Dr. Van Lynch. Mr. Copeland?
Yes, under Student Services, the administration recommends that the Board of School Directors, this is motions A through C in one motion. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the Student Services items as listed. Agreement for Student Services, Non-District Educational Services, SS1 to SS7. The administration also recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached Maxim Healthcare Services contract to provide licensed certified healthcare providers for the 2018-19 school year as the rates specified. And finally, the administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached Person-Driven Clinical Solutions, LLC, PDCS, agreement for consulting services at a rate of $25 per quarter hour for a one-year term.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes, and now we will hear a report from Mr. Driscoll of the facilities meeting of September 20th. Oh, and September 6th.
Yes. Thank
Two
you.
meetings. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor. I'll begin with the September 6th meeting. I'll give a very, very short report on it. We met here September 6th, where we had 3 architects give us presentations on proposals for a middle school at 1860 Montgomery Avenue. The 3 were Spiesel with Fielding Nair, Gilbert Architects, and Stantec. I don't want to get in. I'm not going to get into what each one of them said as like an individual, because that was what the meeting was. But the takeaways were the possibilities and challenges by that site. And I think all 3 of them emphasized 3 common themes, which surprised me, is the number one being open classrooms. The school for the next generation is not hallways and classrooms, but rather larger areas that are more open and allow for more collaboration and more flexibility in how you can configure the space. They all talked at great length about ensuring space for arts, sciences, athletics, as well as smaller areas where students can meet more informally and collaborate on projects. And the third thing that the big takeaway was that, curriculum and education establish how a school should be built. The building should not establish how the curriculum should look. So I thought those were the 3 takeaways. All 3 firms I thought were very good. I do personally want to thank the administration for all the due diligence. I think they gave us a nice problem to have. They gave us 3 really good firms, very difficult to pick from, and that's a good problem for us to have that kind of difficulty. As is tonight, I think they're ready to make a recommendation, and we'll move forward with that. So that was the September 6th meeting. Then this past Thursday, September 20th, we had our regular Facilities and Purchasing Committee meeting where we began reviewing and recommending for approval the list of bills, reviewed and recommended for approval 2 district contracts, one with Maxim Healthcare at various rates to provide additional personnel on an as-needed basis in nursing, physical therapy, special education, et cetera, for our IEP students when the need in our personnel exceeds what the district has on staff. We then approved, reviewed, and recommended a personal-driven clinical solutions at $25 per quarter hour. This group provides assistance with students with high special cognitive disabilities, special education cognitive disabilities, and teaching them on best practices on interacting with their peers. Reviewed and recommended for approval 2 purchasing items from the purchasing report. S.J. Thomas at $89,750. This is to purchase and install cellular signal equipment to improve cell phone coverage in Marion Elementary, and a similar contract for S.J. Thomas, Inc. at $80,500 for Penn Wynn Elementary. Both schools suffer from dead zones with cell coverage. We then looked at a Bright Bill Body Works for $125 a day, not to exceed $22,500. The district is leasing a bus to add to its fleet. As this school year began, a few routes were too long, so routes have been reconfigured by adding this new bus to reduce ride times for some of our students. The next contract was with the Kinwood Club at approximately $26,000 per year for the next 3 years. This is to lease courts and establish a coaching system from the Kinwood Club to support the JV and varsity squash programs at both high schools. Then we have a contract with F. Tavani Associates not to exceed $10,000. They will provide traffic counts and suggest possible traffic improvement measures around the proposed site of a new middle school at 1860 Montgomery Avenue. One contract with Montgomery County Planning Commission, $5,302, to provide an update to the district's enrollment projections using this year's student numbers, and a similar contract to do enrollment projections with Sundance Associates for $10,500. The next contract is with Gilmer Associates, an engineering firm, not to exceed an increase of $78,500. We have a replacement stormwater basement at Harriton High School. It's taken a little longer due to unforeseen circumstances. This amendment is to pay Gilmore for the additional work past what we originally thought this contract was going to take. A similar contract for Reynolds Construction, not to exceed $27,000 to manage the replacement at the Harriton Basin. It's taken a little longer. The last item was we reviewed and recommended for approval of about 10 change orders. Again, it's the stormwater basin. Most of those issues had to deal with trying to get overtime on the weekends to get that project finished sooner. Provide some underground ductwork for electrical lines, and some credits from the work done by Lmsb that will not be done by the contractor. We then moved on to some informational issues. The Welsh Valley and Ballackinwood Middle School cafeterias are complete and were open on time for this school year. The anecdotal report so far is a much improvement to both middle school cafeterias. The stormwater basin, unfortunately, we are later than we had originally wished to be last spring, but as of today, it has been finished, asphalt and painted, so that project is now done, and we can get all our parking back on that campus. And then we closed out the meeting briefly discussing zoning changes that the district will need in order to make building a new middle school feasible at 1860 Montgomery Avenue. We can then conclude the meeting, and our next meeting is October 11th at 8:30 in this room. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Driscoll. Mr. Orlando.
Under the Business Office and Finance section, I'm going to take items B through E in one motion. The administration recommends the Board of School Directors approve the following motions: approve the list of bills, approve the financial report for August 2018, accept with pleasure pursuant to Policy 702, $5,000 from an anonymous donor for the use of a special education classroom in Penwell Elementary School, daffodil bulbs valued at approximately $100 from Andrew Livingston for planting on the grounds at Penwell Elementary School, and declare surplus items as surplus properties and authorize the disposition thereof.
Thank you. On behalf of the board, I'd like to thank the anonymous donor and Mr. Livingston for his donation. Are there any questions? Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do you have a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
Under the Facilities and Operations, I'm going to take items A through J in one motion, unless a board member would like me to separate any particular item. You good? Okay. The administration recommends the following approval of action items: award the contract for cell signal improvements at Marion and Penwell Elementary Schools, approve the authorization to enter the contract professional architectural and engineering services with Spiesel Architect Group related to the construction of a new middle school, approve the lease agreement with MA Bright Bill Body Works, Inc. for lease school bus at 125 hours a school calendar day for the 18-19 year, approve the HLM squash program agreement with the Kinwood Club for the years 2018-19 through 2021 seasons for an annual fee of approximately $26,000. Approve the amendment to professional service agreement with Reynolds Construction LLC for repairs to the stormwater basin 2.1 at Harriton High School for a not to exceed fee of $27,000. Approve the amendment to professional service agreement with Gilmore Associates Inc. for repairs to the stormwater basin 2.1 at Harriton High School for a not to exceed fee of $78,500. Approve the F. Tavani and Associates Inc. proposal for traffic engineering services at 1860 Montgomery Avenue for not to exceed fee of $10,000. Approve proposal from Montgomery County Planning Commission for enrollment projection update for a fee of $5,302. Approve proposal from Sundance Associates for enrollment projections update for a fee of $10,500. And approve the change orders for the repairs to the stormwater basin 2.1 at Harrington High School, and they are all per the attachments.
So before, just let me, if it's the board pleases, I'd like to just review briefly the selection process that we used for the architect, Spiesel and Fielding Nair. So we targeted 3 firms that were either known to us or known by our construction manager. And we sent along with the RFP our strategic plan and made it clear that this was not just something they should take a look at and graze through it, but that this was foundational to what we were going to be asking them to do. We then identified 3 buildings to look at that they had participated in. And we, before we visited those buildings, we did a pre-interview that was about an hour and a half long for each architectural firm. We did that through Zoom or Skype or somebody. And then we made the visitation to the facility and then an extensive set of reviews. All 3 of the firms could do the job, and we felt really very good about that. We thought that Gilbert, no relation, who the district has been working with for 6 or 7 years, put in an outstanding proposal. Stantec, who was known to our construction manager, was also extremely creative. And Spiesel, who I've had in prior districts, but they've teamed with Fielding Nair, and we just felt that this was the group that most closely fit the kinds of issues that we think we're going to face as we move forward. So it was an extensive process, but I think we're very confident in our recommendations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Copeland. At this time, are there any questions from the board? Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Great. At this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Robinson for a report of the Policy Committee meeting.
Thank you. The Policy Committee met on September 14th, 2018, in this room. We had up for first readings, policy in AR 332, 432, 532, 832, reporting of waste and wrongdoing or whistleblower policy. This is a new policy, and it's administrative regulation related to the procedure for reporting a situation that appears to be wrong to the reporter. All reports are to be done in a good faith, and investigations will be undertaken likewise. All new employees will be required to sign a statement indicating that they have read and understand the policy and AR as part of their orientation. Then we went on to policy 007, board meetings. We discussed changes to this policy this spring. We also said that the policy would undergo a restructuring to put some of the language in the administrative regulation. So some old language is also being updated to reflect current use. Then we went on to policy and AR 718, service animals in schools. This policy is being brought forward as a first reading to reflect a law change allowing for certain service animals on school property. The policy and AR govern students, employees, and visitors, for example, at athletic events. Anyone interested in bringing an animal to school grounds should review this policy and AR. Then we went on to administrative regulations. AR 152. Participation in curricular programs and activities by economically disadvantaged students. This AR is being brought to us to review changes to its attachment A, sharing information with other programs. This is to reflect legal language changes. Specifically, attachment A allows individuals and families to share information obtained in the nutrition program with other programs so as to ensure that no student is left out of an activity or school program. And it needs to be affirmatively given by the family. AR 812 Food Services, changes to this AR involve law changes allowing school staff to communicate low balances directly and discreetly to 9th to 12th graders. Further, the AR has been updated to allow parents and guardians whose children have positive balances at the end of the school year and who are graduating to elect to donate those funds to cover negative balances in other students' accounts. Then we went on to AR 713 Attachment C, which is the facility use policy and AR. Charges for facility use are being updated to reflect the new contract recently reached with the LMEA. Updated costs of these reflect changes in personnel costs. AR 800 Records Management. Changes to this AR are reflected in Attachment A, Record Retention Schedule. Specifically, the district will keep detailed general ledgers as long as other similar financial data or 6 years. The administration will look further into this attachment to see what other changes need to be made and bring it back to the policy committee at a future date. For discussion, we had 2 policies or ARs. AR 207 Attendance was discussed to shed light on some law changes as well as some procedure changes with regard to attendance. When a doctor's note is submitted, the absence is deemed to be non-cumulative. It further elaborates when a doctor's note is required. We would like to remind everyone to submit an absence to each school using the new electronic system implemented this year. You can access it through lmsd.org at each individual school. Doctor's notes can be sent in this way or by hand upon safe arrival of the student. And finally, AR 702 and 704 were discussed briefly. Gifts, grants, donations will be reviewed further at the request of the board to take a closer look and more comprehensive look at naming rights in conjunction with the review of policy in AR 704, recognition of contributions of the school community. The next policy committee meeting will be held in this room on October 5th at 8:30 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. At this time, the Board of School Directors needs to approve the endorsement of the attached PSBA slate of candidates. I will mention that one of the candidates is our very own Ms. LaPera. So I'll just remind everybody of that. Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Also, the administration is recommending that the Board of School Directors approves the attached revised 2018-19 calendar, and basically adjustment was made to reflect the half-day of professional development on October 31st. Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. I don't think we have any other committee reports at this time.
Yeah, but Dr. Gilbert, may I please interrupt? I did forget to put the first readings on, which I just dropped in, and Suba reviewed them, and I'm wondering if you would be able to,
Read that.
that's under new business. I can tell you what they are. There's not a motion that gets
No,
read.
I know there's no motion, but I have to be able to see them.
Yeah, so I just put it, I mean, I literally just put it in. It's up on the monitor now. You could probably just read the numbers and not the whole thing.
Okay, I literally can't see that.
Okay.
so-
It's policy
Sorry.
007. Do you want me to read it? And that since
Why
there's
don't you
no- can
read
we do
it?
that?
Because by
I
the
can do that,
time I'm
right?
able to get it
Okay,
up
sorry.
here.
We already voted for you, right?
Yes. Sorry. The following policies were reviewed for a first reading. Policy 007, board meetings, policy 718, service animals, and policy 332, 432, 532, and 832, reporting waste and wrongdoing in the district.
Thank you for reading that and for catching it. So we don't take a vote on first read, so we're just announcing that there has been a first read on those policies. At this time, we are going to have audience recognition on any issue. It could be agenda or non-agenda items. If you would like to speak, please come sign in with Ms. LaPera. 3 minutes. You have to say your name and generally where you live in the district. So if you can do that. And Denise, do you have the first person
I
already
do.
signed up?
Lisa Prosnitz.
Lisa, you can come up and start.
Hi, my name is Lisa Prosnitz. I live in Penn Valley. I serve as the ISC Sleep and Healthy School Start Times Chair, and I'm also the chapter leader for Start School Later in Lower Merion. In this role, I speak with a lot of people in our community about our students and their sleep needs. I talk to my neighbors, teachers, friends, and have also been known to initiate conversations with people standing next to me in line at the grocery store. There are a lot of common threads in the questions that I get asked. What about sports? What about elementary schools, our busing system, our homework policy? What else can I do to help get my kids more sleep? One of the biggest and most frequent questions I get asked is how community members can get involved in helping to address these questions and give their input. They want to be a part of the process and part of the solution. These are important questions and ones that I hope you will invite the community to help answer. On March 13th, more than 50 parents came on a snowy morning at the request of the administration to an ISC meeting to learn about Lower Merion School District's stance on school start times and to beta test a survey. Those parents have repeatedly asked, where is this survey now? Lower Merion School District has always sought to be at the forefront of education. And while we've been discussing school start times for a number of years, when it comes to this important health issue, we're lagging behind. The Interschool Council Sleep and Healthy School Start Times Committee thanks the school administration for their work with the Challenge Success program geared towards improving our students' quality of life and engagement in school. As addressed in the recent Curriculum and Education Committee meetings, school start times was a piece of the program. We want to stress that our parents and community members, including sleep physicians, psychologists, transportation experts, are eager to help and support the school district in any way possible. And I just want to add, I had another student who was going to come tonight, and she just texted me saying she had to get up at 5:30 tomorrow morning and couldn't make it. So just thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next.
Benjamin Newman.
Hi, my name is Ben Newman, and I am a current senior at Harriton High School. I was reading the Challenge Success Report just before I came in, and I found that the topic of sleep was only on 2 slides, so I figured I'd come up and give my own thoughts on this. I'm here to tell you how early mornings adversely affect me. Today was a Monday morning. I went to bed at 11 the night before, got up at 6, and left for school around 6:50. That wasn't quite enough sleep for me. I really struggle to focus in class when I don't sleep enough. It's like everything that the teacher is saying is kind of swirling around me. Maybe a speck on the floor becomes really interesting, but I can't, for the life of me, focus when I have to get up so early. Research supports this, and it suggests that ADHD is actually correlated with this sleep deprivation. It's very funny, my brother, who is making the transition from middle school to high school this year, came home in the first week of school and said, "Mom, I think I have ADD because I cannot focus at school because I have to get up so early." Another issue is I really struggle to retain the things that I learn. Conversion of short-term memory to long-term memory requires a long night of sleep. When I go in tomorrow to my morning classes, which are the same morning classes as I had the day before, I don't know how much I will be able to retain from what I heard because I won't have had the time to take this information and put it into my long-term memory. Another point is very close to me, very personal. I feel less happy when I have to wake up so early and get so little sleep. Starting out on the right foot is very important, and when I have to get up so early, I don't get out on the right foot. This turns into lack of motivation for work. Apathy, irritability, and depression are correlated with less sleep, according to the National Sleep Foundation. Now, the preponderance of evidence suggests that later school start times are better. I hear a lot of external reasons from the administrators and employees about why this wouldn't work. But I'd like to hear some evidence as to why earlier start times are better for me. Since the goal of school is to help me learn to maximize my potential, why does the district choose the sleep schedule that goes against my biology as a teenager? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Ben. We appreciate you taking the time to come here tonight.
Adrian Seltzer.
Hello, Adrian Seltzer, South Ardmore Park area. I just want to add to the young man's comments that studies have shown that kids his age, sorry to call you a kid, show that 9 to 10 hours is the required amount of sleep for teenagers. Okay, now to mine. I am dismayed at the lack of disclosure and transparency that has been a hallmark of this board. I was originally annoyed that there was no link in the agenda to what was going to be discussed tonight in the curriculum meeting. Obviously, you had the links because Dr. Van Lynch mentioned them. But then, last minute, without anything on the agenda at the facilities meeting, or today's meeting until the last minute, was put on there about hiring an architect for the project at 1860. There was no community input, and this shows an egregious lack of transparency and arrogance on the part of this board that this discussion, even though I might agree with your choice, it's still at the point that you had no community input, that it was something done in-house behind closed doors. This just is not the way to run things in 2018. We have sunshine acts with transparency. When you shine light on stuff, then we know that it is a fair and honest procedure. When you hide behind closed doors, you're not giving us any faith that what you're doing is a fair and honest procedure. It may be, but you're not giving us that confidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Seltzer. I know you're going to comment. What? I know you're going to comment at the end, but I have to say, we had a public facilities meeting in the evening that was taped, in which we took public comment and invited people as well who viewed it to, send in public comment. So to say that there was no community input is...
And made public comments at the meeting.
Yes, and people did make public comments. I'm sorry that you weren't able to be at the meeting, but we did have a public meeting, which we announced all over the place. We took public comment, and we, received comments as well in community comments.
Community comments are one thing. If you don't get the opportunity.
Ruth Jenkins.
I'm sorry, the next person
Ms.
is...
Jenkins.
Don't like what I have to say, and
I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you.
Ruth Jenkins in Wynwood. Is this public meeting on tape? Can we see it? Yes. Okay. Because it wasn't on the agenda, until when I was looking up the agenda, it wasn't on the agenda until later. Are the cost factors part of that as well, I would assume? I just really wanted to say one thing about the study that was presented last week and all the factors that were put into making what a school day is like. One of the things I felt that was left out was the feeling of safety. Do the children feel safe at school? And that was just one thing I thought that maybe should be added to the questionnaire. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. That's it?
Before I respond, can I, did the survey have anything on safety? I thought there was.
questions about belonging, sense of belonging,
But not specifically safety.
not specifically
Okay.
safety.
All right, let me,
And I asked people to sign up at that time, and I closed the,
Oh, I didn't realize there was, that's very short.
okay,
Really, thank you.
okay, you're the last person now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben Meyer, Wynwood, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to thank the board really for all the work in picking a new architect for 1860. If Penn Civic is able to help in the zoning side, we're happy to help, whatever, lobby or talk to people in any way we can. It seems like the crowding is building in the elementaries and middle schools, so all I can say is we hope you keep going and let us know if we can help. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Let me address the issues of the school start time first. As we had discussed at ISC and asked the superintendent, we're moving, getting together a lot of the information that we think we need. Dr. Paul will give a full presentation in November, which will include the information she's gathered to date. We've actually, one of the things I was looking to do was to create the second transportation study. I actually met with our transportation people, the board doesn't know this, and they asked me not to go out to a company to get the transportation study done, because they said they only keep coming to us for the information. They think that they can be more agile if they do it themselves in-house and be able to look at different kinds of scenarios. So they're doing that in-house as it happens. I know folks would like us to move faster. My thing is we want to move so that we don't not do it the correct way, and eventually people say this isn't going to work. If it's going to work, I think we need to take the time to gather the information. So I encourage folks to be out for the November, I guess it's CCOB meeting, where Dr. Paul gives the information she has. In terms of the transparency, I don't think anything could be further from the truth. As Dr. Gilbert said, the normal facilities meeting is held during the morning. We made a special emphasis to make the meeting in the evening. The meeting was recorded. We made, I don't know how many school messenger systems. We made sure that you couldn't turn on the website unless you saw that there was a meeting about the architects. And at that meeting, I made it clear that we were going to try and complete our due diligence and make a presentation for who was going to get the award on the 24th. Wasn't sure we could even make it for the 24th. We finished our reference review on Friday, and we then sent the document back to the architect to say, we want you to sharpen your pencil and to give us your best and final. So they had to go back and look at what they did. There were a number of community members who made comment at the end of that meeting. There were a number of community members who saw it on tape and sent in community comments. So, we make errors from time to time, and error in transparency was simply not the case here. I think we did as good a job as we could given the time period.
And I will also say that, our actual time frame suggested that we should have done this, in July and August, and I specifically asked that it be held until after school started so that the school community in particular, many of whom are not around over the summer, would be back to be able to participate. So it would have actually been better for us to be able to have done this, earlier, given our sort of time frame for what we needed to do. And I appreciate that, Mr. Copeland then redid the schedule to ensure that there would be a public meeting in September. So, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Did you have anything else you want to say? Okay, well, go ahead.
About the
About
there
the
was
what?
documents for curriculum?
They're on board docs.
They're on board docs? Okay. Please.
So the presentations are on, I just checked, they have already been on the curriculum committee, and the architects brought their presentations on a flash drive. No one had them in advance of their presentation, and if you watch it, you'll see me loading the next person's on, so no one had them in advance of that meeting.
But at this time, Ms. Brooks, can you do the sunshine announcements for us, please?
In accordance with Act 93 of 1998 Sunshine Law, the Board of School Directors met in executive session on the following dates: September 17th for real estate, September 22nd for real estate, walk budget litigation, assessment appeal litigation, and a confidential student matter, and September 24th, confidential personnel matter and walk litigation.
Thank you. Upcoming meetings. October 8th, Education Committee meeting, 8 p.m. October 15th, regular business board meeting, 8 p.m. And then committee meetings, which are these are all at 8:30, September 8:30 a.m. September 26th, communications, October 2nd, curriculum, October 5th, policy, October 11th, facilities and purchasing, and October 17th, communications and legislative. Thank you to everyone for coming out this evening, and with that, we are adjourned.